need to realize that we are the country that makes movies about pirates while other countries have real pirates. And that's the news again. Making it bigger than it is. Pirates off the coast of Africa. You mean skinny, starving Somalians?
What's happening, white people? We're talking about multicultural news. Our Prime Minister has come out and said it's okay to shoot Somalian pirates. It's okay to shoot Somali. Don't shoot them in London. Fucking shoot the Somalian.
Britney Spears is globally known for her worldwide hits, including Oops, I Did It Again and Baby One More Time. But now she is the driving force behind a new important task, scaring off Somali pirates. According to British newspaper The Metro, the 31-year-old's hits are deployed by the British Navy as a weapon to fight Somalis in boats off the East African coast. Naval officer Rachel Owens explained that the pirates can't stand Western culture or music, making Britney's hits perfect.
Earlier today, a deed offered a ceasefire to the U.S. Here with an update on the rapidly changing Somalia situation is Weekend Update correspondent Ellen Cleghorn. Ellen, good to have you back.
Kevin, President Clinton has announced that while the U.S. is open to peace talks, he would not negotiate with a deed, and 2,000 U.S. troops are still on their way to Somalia to help capture him. That's 2,000 troops to find one warlord. If they really want to try and find General Adid, they should send me over there, because foreign men are drawn to me. I'm like a warlord magnet. They love me. So, Mohammed, if you're watching, and I know you are, my rent is $1,250 a month, and one of your warriors can call the Somalian Four Seasons, because I'm coming to Mogadishu, and I don't want any bag of grain for dinner. Thank you.
But let me check on Somalians. Make some noise. Wait, hold on. Everybody looks shocked like Somalians are going to go to university.
Geraldo, are the Somali terrorists trained by Osama bin Laden?
Tina, let me answer that. Just moments ago, the beast of 1,000 scales, the prince of dastardly deeds himself, Osama bin Laden was here moments ago.
Wait a minute. You actually met with Osama bin Laden?
Osama was here. I had him in a headlock. I hit Osama. I kicked him in his dastardly groin. Then he and I briefly exchanged fisticuffs before Osama started screaming, "Ooh, Geraldo, you sexy man."
Come on, Geraldo, that could not have been Osama bin Laden. According to Pentagon sources, he's nowhere near Somalia.
Tina, if that's true, I'm truly sorry. Mistakes are made when you're on a tour of terror. There's terror everywhere. I call them terror errors. These are errors that are on a tour of terror. Oh, hold on, Tina, I've just been informed. Hold on. I've just been informed that people here in Mogadishu have declared me their king.
Where the boy walks up to the village and sees all the dead crows, and then there's like a cloud or smoke. I couldn't tell exactly.
I couldn't tell what was coming out of it.
It was a cloud or a smoke or something going on.
Which kind of lends to our theory that it was some kind of noxious gas, but who knows. But this has happened before, which means that whoever did it tested it. But actually, it does lead them to some pertinent information, which was that this has happened before in...
And it has something to do... It was in Somalia in 1991.
Which I love, like, of course it's Africa. Like,
Yes.
Africa, of course it's like, that's like the testing ground for this horrific event, you know? Like, where else are you gonna put it?
In the land of gods and monsters, I was an angel, looking to get fucked hard, like a groupie incognito posing as a real singer. Life imitates art. You got that medicine I need. Dope, shoot it up straight to the heart, please. I don't really wanna know what's good for me. God's dead, I said, baby, that's alright with me. No one's gonna take my soul away. I'm living like Jim Morrison, and it was a fucked up holiday. Motel space breeze and I'm singing, fuck yeah, give it to me. This is heaven, what I truly want. It's innocence lost, innocence lost. When you talk, it's like a movie, and you're making me crazy. 'Cause life imitates art. If I get a little prettier, can I be your baby? You tell me life isn't that hard. No one's gonna take my soul away.
Black Hawk Down was directed by Ridley Scott, whose last two films were Gladiator and Hannibal, and he once again floods the screen with buckets of blood. But this time the grisly images are a product of some of the most realistic battle scenes ever filmed. Black Hawk Down is based on a 1993 debacle in which U.S. peacekeeping forces in Somalia planned what they thought would be a piece of cake raid on a brutal warlord's top henchman.
We have two things that we can do. We can either help, or we can sit back and watch country destroy itself on CNN.
사실 TV에서 소말리아에 대한 소식을 듣는 경우도 되게 드물고, 그냥 막 그리고 나오게 되면은 뭐 뉴스에서 무슨 뉴스는 해적 막 이렇게 나오고 그런 면에서는 좀 소말리아에 대한 그런 정보가 부족하다는 게 아쉽긴 하죠.
The new Captain Phillips movie out by Tom Hanks. The movie has several Somali actors in it, and whilst I agree that it's good for these Somali actors because they are starting their Hollywood careers, and we have to keep in mind that Hollywood is hardly balanced in their depiction of Somalia. We remember that from Black Hawk Down. But just because we remember that, it doesn't mean that a discussion can't be had on the contents of the film and how we are portrayed.
Captain Phillips pilots an unarmed container ship off the Somali coast.
Everything okay?
I don't like the look of that.
But Somali pirates hijack the ship and take the captain hostage.
Look at me. Sure. I'm the captain now.
In the ensuing standoff, they all face forces they never expected in Captain Phillips.
Channel 4's Jamal Osman went to ask the director of the film about this, and here you can see what happened next.
Jamal Osman reporting. Well, he's with us now. He is Somali by birth, and we're joined by the film's director, Paul Greengrass, and its star, Tom Hanks. Thank you very much for coming in.
Pleasure.
Jamal, why don't you ask?
Yeah, I mean, as a filmmaker, it was a good watch, quite tense, some terrific scenes, I would say. But as a Somali, I feel you demonized us as Somalis. And since this film is based on a true story, don't you think you have the obligation to represent the subject or the society in question fairly?
Well, you won't be surprised to know I don't accept that. But more to the point, what is interesting is we had in this film, I would say probably about 30 or 40 Somalis who took part in it, including the four young men who played the pirates. And we cast that way precisely because I wanted to have that perspective. Not one of them felt that. And I must take issue with one of your points in your film. You know, I don't agree at all with your analysis that Somali piracy today is fishing communities striking back at overfishing in their waters. That's where it began. And I think if you look at any of the studies done on piracy, any of the reputable studies, and I can point you to probably a dozen or more, they'll all tell the same story. That was what happened in the 80s and the early 90s. Overfishing in Somali waters, toxic waste dumping too, and fishing communities fighting back. But very, very quickly, this became international organized crime, with crime bosses moving in, financing these communities, financing them, entire communities, who then began to reap the rewards of this piracy. So I think, with respect to you, that your assertions are not borne out in fact, and actually are rather romantic ones.
Well, I've seen the film, and it is a sensational watch, no question at all.
There was a time I used to carry the Somali flag. Doors would open for me, and I'd respectfully be greeted. That was the respect the government of Somalia had. Today, however, I'm not ashamed to be Somali. Its faults are my own. It's not something to be ashamed of, but it's something that can't be taken. If you can't say proudly, I am a Somali.
My name is Kanan, and I was born and raised in Mogadishu, Somalia. My grandfather was a renowned poet in the country. And my auntie, you know, she was named the #1 singer of all time in Somalia. And so that was my family. That was the components which made the household. It was majestic for the first part of my life. But I had two different kinds of childhoods back home. One was this incredible, poetic, serene life by the ocean. And the second half, even though it was just about 3 years before we'd gotten out, was spent during the war. And so that was a relevant experience to the music that I've eventually created out of those experiences. You know, I consider the melody aspect of my music to be from the peaceful era, and from for the content of my music to be from the era of war.
Africa's very own Iman.
I have been modeling for 14 years. I've started modeling in 1989. It was very sexist how I was introduced to the press. My fair lady, where you take an ingenue or somebody who maybe a peasant or maybe somebody who doesn't know any better, and you recreate her and make her a swan, so to speak. No, I came as a swan. You know, I am a Somali.
It means Somalia forever, but Manta is proud not only of his ethnic roots, but also of being British. And as the world focuses on the young Somali terrorists of Al-Shabaab, there's anger that the image of the peace-loving people from the place he calls his motherland is being tarnished by the few. Instead, he says the focus should be on all the positive influences.
If there are more people who excel in education, in music, in culture, in sports, you know, if people have those kind of role models, then there will be less isolation, and young people can relate to us more than they can relate to those people that want to steal or put some ideas, the wrong ideas in their minds, and try and take advantage of them.
The extremists he talks about may be a tiny minority, but they're on the lookout for new recruits.
Well, we've seen the triggers where young people fail their GCSEs and they're disenfranchised from society. We know the signs of those who are vulnerable in that context, and I think we should be in a position where we become the channel that they can talk to and communicate their concerns.
But it's frustrating for those living within UK communities to even be talking about the issue.
As a British citizen, I've got nothing to do with this. But because it has a Somali relation, it's expected that we feel, some sort of association, guilt, if you like. And sometimes that's quite difficult because I despise these guys.
How do you feel those who aren't involved in the piracy or extremism, who are Somali, how do you think they're being affected by this?
Well, it's damaging the whole reputation of the region, and I mean, presumably they're trying to get on with life and sort of develop and grow the economy. And no, the piracy is a basis for widespread criminality and corruption, which will be a major obstacle for them being able to do that.
Do you think this changes the perception of Somali individuals because of the representation?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, people get tainted by those big international stories through generalisation.
Now, little is known of Somali culture. Somalia itself is just known for being a war-torn country. And funny because on the Daily Mail I was reading a map that showed what Americans thought of each country, and Somalia on the map was marked as pirates. Simple, pirates. There's nothing known of the Somali culture.
I feel like the media representation of Somalis in general is not a positive one, which is quite sad to feel like we're not represented in a nice way. Like if I speak to anyone from work and then they find out that I'm Somali, they've just got a ton of questions to say, okay, why do pirates exist? What is Somaliland? Like, and then we've got this FGM thing that is now all over Evening Standard. Every time I pick it up, I've just seen it being mentioned. It's all over my newsfeed on Facebook, as I'm sure it is on yours.
Being an FGM campaigner, I know that it's not represented good at all.
The Somali image in the mainstream media lies with both the Somali people as well as the mainstream media. Right now, at this current moment in time, we have laid ourselves open to attack, open to misrepresentation, and open to be able to make accusations without it being backed up by facts. And it's down to us to be able to find capable individuals who can represent us in the media and who can also try to distinguish what's false and what's true about certain accusations that are made. We need people who can represent us in that way, especially when it comes down to PR. We need our own little Somali PR team, in my opinion.
I don't think it's a deliberate thing that in the media. I think it's lack of knowledge. Am I making sense? They don't understand the culture. I think that's what the problem is. Little is known of Somali people and their culture, and they're just known for negative, violent issues. So Somali people have to try to want to be, they're going to have to want to be visible, and they have to promote themselves, and they have to integrate more in terms of the media. Somali people are the key to them being more fairly represented.
So the whole purpose of making this film, Through the Fire, was to try to give a different kind of image of Somalia, Somaliland. Typically, the images that we get in the media are about Al-Shabaab, about piracy, about famine, and there's a lot more to these countries than that. So our intention was to try to kind of change the script somewhat.
We saw Barbados for the first time in many years because I couldn't come here because of the war, and I saw my home.
Yes, well, it's a pleasure to meet Zakaria, and I'm really very impressed that somebody is looking into what is the perception of people in regard to the Somalis, whether it's Somaliland or Somalia, and I think there's a great need for the work that Zakaria is doing, and I congratulate you, and I wish you all the best. You're doing a great job tonight. Keep doing it. Keep growing. Thank you.
And to explode those stereotypes and to tell a different kind of narrative from the one that we hear most commonly in the media. I hope that we succeeded in that, and that in some way it might contribute to the media kind of waking up to the fact that there are many parts of Somali culture and the efforts that are going on at ground level to rebuild, reconstruct these countries that are worth celebrating and that should be properly reported in the media.
My name is Zach Salad, and I'm a filmmaker.
Rebel, you about to make them think you're birthed from flames.
Rolling. Rolling.
Oh my God! You and me!
Delivering content.
Wet myself.